Hello everybody, Mike, aka the Magico13, here with Kerbal Space Program Out of This World Series, Episode 13. Today we are going to be going to the moon. Yes, finally, all the preparation with the Mun Explorer is about to pay off. We're going to go to the moon, get a bunch of science, mine a bunch of Kethane, and it'll be a really good time. And we will finally be getting enough science to unlock some new nodes, hopefully, because we've kind of been stuck here for a little while. One of the next ones I'd like to get would be docking ports, because we currently are using this one. But I have already done the burn. It wasn't very spectacular, and I'm not going to show all these transfers, really. Because, I mean, it's just waiting, pretty much, which I imagine you all know what it's like to wait. So we are going to do a maneuver to adjust our encounter so that we can come down over the South Pole. I'd like to get into a polar orbit so that we can use ScanSat and the Kethane detector to map the whole moon. So there we go. We've got a periapsis of about 30 kilometers over almost the South Pole. It's a little inclined, but that hopefully won't be an issue. And, I mean, we have all of our ships that we need here, so it's not like we need to have anything, like send anything else out. Although we can if we need to. It's only like a day's transfer, which I have skipped again, just because it's not very exciting. We're about to get into the SOI of the moon, and we are setting up our capture burn. It's gonna be at least a kilometer per second or so. I mean, with this we can get to, with 950 we can get captured. With about 1100 meters per second we can get a kind of nice orbit. That one's not quite perfect, but it's close enough, so let's just point at the node. And there we go. We are about to start our burn. It's a 1.5-minute burn, and at about 45 seconds. There we go. Now it's just a matter of time till we are captured. We've got 800 or so meters per second left to go. We've got 1400 meters per second at delta V. This should be no problem at all. Take a screenshot. It's most likely one of those is going to be the cover. This is a fairly short episode. The next episode will be a little longer, so they kind of average out, but the ending of this episode is a good place to end. Speaking of good places to end, this is not one. We are out of fuel in these tanks, but we have 700 meters per second left. Oh, crap. That's including the fuel in the lander, isn't it? Which, one, we don't have access to, and two, we need that to land. Okay, well, at the very least we're captured, so that'll help, at least. That means that we can land, mine some Kethane, and come back up, and we should be good. Speaking of mining Kethane, I need to scan for it first, so... Excuse me, sorry. So we've got the Kethane scanner active, we've got the ScanSat mapper active. ScanSat will give us a little bit more science, which is kind of nice. Unfortunately, we can't seem to scan the North Pole because our orbit is too far away, and we're out of fuel, so we can't change that. So once we mine some of this Kethane, that won't be such an issue. But I'm basically just going to do this until I've got a majority of the moon mapped, or at least somewhat mapped. And that way I'll know that when we land, we will be landing on a Kethane deposit. I also need to find a good Kethane deposit to land on. And at this time I have, So I'm going to take Dunzer Kerman, throw him in the command pod, and then it's just a matter of enabling the life support so that he doesn't die. And I can't, for whatever reason, I can't click that stupid carbon dioxide. Come on, click. Yeah, okay, there we go. Now he won't fill up with carbon dioxide, but we also need to undock fully from the ship, which is unlinking the pipes first, unlinking the struts, and then finally undocking later. We can't quite reach that strut. Oh, and now that we've done all of this, this thing is just going to vibrate a lot and violently, and I can't time warp to make it stop. Alright, let's just... Okay, get back in. Maybe kill our rotation and all that. Turn SAS on. Okay. SAS seems to have settled it down some. If I redesign this lander for something else, I need to make sure to not have a bunch of really tiny things in between the docking port and the rest of the ship, because that's just kind of a bad idea. So I can't reach the strut, so I'm going to come out here and just unlink it and move it. And forgot to unlink, but I'll move it at least over to here, and then I should be able to reach it from the ladder. There we go. And I'm not going to test it because we need to actually get in the ship and land, which will all be done IVA. We have been controlling this ship with not IVA, the reason being that it's actually controlled by a probe, but the rest of this will be done IVA. And it's just a matter of undocking. It looks like we are. We are now floating away just a little bit. There was a bit of a time gap there. I don't remember what I was doing, but it was mostly nothing. So just point retrograde. We're currently at our apoapsis just about, I think. Get flight engineer out of the way because we don't need it. We have the raster prop monitor, which honestly is pretty awesome, and I'm very, very happy I have it. We've got two cameras on this. We've got a front-facing cam for the docking port and a rear-facing cam for the landing. Yeah, we are just at apoapsis. We are going to try to land, just lower our periapsis so we land near the South Pole. Make sure this engine is activated. Alright, so we have lowered just a little bit. This is all sped up as well. We're going to try to land on the Kethane deposit right near our periapsis. Should maybe scan a little bit more, but I don't want to wait too long and find out that we're going to not be able to refuel. I figure if we're going to need to send a rescue mission, then we should do it sooner rather than later. So let's just point at this. That'll only require 200 meters per second. That's not too bad. What do we have on here? We've got 2,000 meters per second of delta V, so we should be fine. I mean, I think it's 1,000 meters per second down and up, if I remember correctly. Just going to skip some of that burn because it's literally just sitting here staring at a maneuver node. And there we go. We are now in a lower energy orbit that will make it easier to land, hopefully. About 15 kilometers up. That's higher than the mountains, so we're safe. Now, the next time we get to periapsis, we're going to just finish dropping down. We only need to kill off 700 meters per second. We've got 1,700, so that should leave us about 1,000. And then, as you can see, we're just sort of going to land a little bit to the west of that scanned area, which should hopefully still be a Kethane deposit. I mean, you can see it sort of expands down into the southeast from there, so we should be fine. Yeah, I think, yeah, this is all sped up as well, just because it takes a little while. But, yeah, so now we're just going to land on the moon. I'm sorry that there weren't any videos last week. I was writing my thesis. It's 44 pages right now. I have to actually go give it to my committee members today, and my defense is next week. So there's very possible that I won't get a video out next Wednesday. I may not get a video out. No, I should have a video out Friday. I actually do live commentary for that one, though I recorded it like a month ago. So the live commentary is going to be a little out of date, but it should still work. We are just barely going over the ground here. We're 1,500 meters up, and that could change at any point because of these craters. So I'm just trying to make sure that we can slow our horizontal velocity down. We're down to 150 meters per second or so, which isn't too bad. I just don't want to have too much negative vertical velocity and then ending up crashing into the ground. First time I actually tried landing this, which I didn't include, I just crashed it dead into the ground because I didn't leave enough time for landing. But it looks like this time we are going to be alright. We are 250 meters up. We are going down at 10 meters per second, which is a little fast, but our landing legs could handle that if they needed to. So there we go, 50 meters. So close, almost there. Going down at 1 meter per second, just about 35 meters. Should maybe speed it up a little bit, but it's alright. Yeah, there we go, 1.5 meters per second or so. 22, 20 meters, come on. Just trying to keep it steady. It's kind of hard to see what we're actually seeing through the camera because the texture is just super pixelated now. And there we go. We have now landed. According to the altitude meter, we are 2.8 meters per, or 2.8 meters above the surface, but oh well. And now we can do some surface science. So we landed pretty close to that Kethane deposit. Let's see, this will net us 24 science on return. That's just a temperature scan. Mystery goo, 30 for one of them, less for the second one, but oh well. 75 for a material study. And let's do EVA report near. Gives us 8. All you can think about is potatoes, apparently. Kerbals have a weird fascination with potatoes, because the BOP science is something like that. Get maybe another EVA report and a surface sample from here, but first we need to plant a flag. Or not. Surface sample. 90 for return of a surface sample. 24 for return of an EVA report. Man, when we get back to Kerbin, we are going to have loads of science. And that is why I'm here, because we have, like, none left in just the Kerbin system that we can get. At least none that's really worth getting. So this is just from one biome. Once we get all of the biomes on the moon, or at least several of the biomes. I probably won't get all of them. Yes, Dunzer Kerman, you bad. Yes. Yeah, I didn't actually say that word. Hopefully we have enough fuel to get home, to return to the ship. Yes. Yeah, hopefully. If we can get enough Kethane, we should be alright, hopefully. But first things first, let's get back on the ladder, and then those bottom ladders are like floating on the materials bay. Let's store these in here. And once we get back to the ship, we can store all this science on there and refuel and then land again and just repeat that procedure a bunch of times. I'm going to go check out that crater over there. It wasn't a different biome, sadly. I was hoping it'd be like pole craters or something, but it wasn't. So, last thing to do is check for Kethane. We're kind of 2 grids away from where I have scanned, but hopefully that's close enough. We've got 100 liquid fuel left, 720 meters per second at delta V. That's cutting it a little close, and we haven't actually filled this up yet. Once we fill it up, there's no gas cloud. Oh no. Oh god, no. We are not on a Kethane deposit. We don't... Even if we got up to the ship, there wouldn't be enough fuel left to land again. And so, no matter what, I'm gonna have to send more fuel. Dunzer Kerman, I think you're trapped on the moon. I'm Mike, aka TheMagico13. Thank you all for watching.